Hello and welcome. My name's Angie Holden. I'm the blogger behind the Country Chic Cottage. And today we're going to talk about Artesprix Sublimation products. If you haven't heard of Artesprix before, this is the place for you. If you've only heard of like their sublimation markers and don't know there's sublimation paint and so many more things, this is also for you. So I have several projects like I've made before. And I also have some things that I can make as we're live here. So if you're joining me live, welcome. Feel free, drop into the live chat, tell me where you're tuning in from. If you've heard of Artesprix products before, feel free to tell me what you've heard of. And if you want to see me make something specific, let me know that as well, because I'm open for suggestions, just kind of winging it today. All right, so the Artesprix line, I do something with their products regularly on my YouTube channel. Generally, it's like a YouTube short once a month or something like that. But I thought I'd do a longer video today. That way you can ask your questions about the products, how to use them, and I can answer them for you as we chat. So any questions that you have, feel free to drop those in the comment section. So they have a line of sublimation products that don't require a printer. So if you've ever thought I want to get into sublimation, but I don't have a printer and I don't know, what to do, don't know where to start, Artesprix products are always what I recommend because it allows you to try sublimation without a huge investment. So they have a wide variety of products. First up is sublimation markers. So I have some seriously wide variety of color packets, different tips, huge wide variety of sublimation markers. And I've had this pack, a little pastel pack. I had them tipped down for, I don't know, close to 24 hours, just so that the ink starts flowing down. So normally I store them flat, but you want the ink to start flowing down before you use them. So I have some like that for us to use if we need to. So that's sublimation markers. Next up, one of my favorites is sublimation paint. So they have paint that is sublimation paint. So you have a wide variety of colors with this as well. And then there is also a lightning medium. So sublimation ink doesn't have a white, but there is a white lightning medium with the paint so that you can make the colors a bit more pastel. So paints, I feel like this is my favorite out of all their products, maybe. Really love the paint. So that's next product. And then there is a stamp pad as well as little bottles of sublimation ink. Now you can use this ink to refill these stamp pads, but you can also use this ink on its own. So don't think this is just for the stamp pads. So the stamp pads are just what you would think. You can use them with stamps. So if you're a crafter and you have craft stamps, this is sublimation ink in a stamp pad. So you can make sublimation crafts with those stamps that you might have for paper crafting. So this is a fun addition. And then this ink, I've used it a variety of different ways. I've done watercolor techniques where I drip it into some water and dip some paper in. I have dripped it on and then used canned air to sort of push it around paper. So it's really fun to just get creative with this. And then they just released sublimation coloring books. I did a video about these recently and I actually designed one coloring book. Mine's crafty images, and then they have other design coloring books, and then they also have letter coloring books. So these coloring books are printed with sublimation ink. So for instance, let's just pull up mine. All of the pages inside of here are printed with sublimation ink. So you could color these in with the markers, or I lightly went over with them with paint for some of mine. I messed around with the stamp ink with some of my projects that I did with this. And then this black will sublimate because it was printed with sublimation ink. Now, because sublimation always needs to be mirrored, crafting with some of these products can get kind of tricky, right? So if you're using the markers and you're want to spell a name, it can get a little tricky because you need to do it backwards for sublimation. So this sublimation coloring book, they have like different fonts. The letters are printed backwards. So you can use these to color in and then transfer to a surface without needing to write backwards with something like the markers. And then like that's kind of their line of products for like basically sublimation without a printer. They also have a variety of other things I'll probably be using a lot of in this video. They have blanks. They have the heat resistant mat, y'all, that I use almost in every video. This black one, that is an Artesprix product. They have heat tape, the protective paper that I always use, that's theirs. So a wide variety of different things that you can get from them. So someone asked, how long do the markers last? So they can dry out because it's a marker. But I would encourage you before you're like, before you like just pick up the pack and you're like, this marker is not working, seriously put them tip down in like a cup or whatever. Like I use this little Ivine berry, like it's one of those weeding weeding scrap collector things. And I just put them tip down in it. Leave them tip down for like 24, 48 hours before you decide that they're dried out, because this will make all the ink saturate that tip and they can like sort of just come to life. So before you decide, like, I bought these markers and they are not working, put them tip down. That would be my recommendation for that. All right, so let's like if you want to see me use a specific product, so stamp, pad, paint, markers, or ink. If you want to see me use a specific product during the live, let me know and we can like start just painting or coloring on something. Maybe we'll use the coloring book pages. The other thing with these, so the products themselves are formulated that to be used for sublimation and to be applied to paper. Now, it doesn't have to be sublimation paper. So you can use regular copy paper. So I have some regular copy paper here. If I am doing something where it's going to be like really wet, like I'm going to use the paint, but I'm going to water it down like for a watercolor effect. I like to use like a watercolor paper or like a mixed media paper. And that's only because I want like that stiffer paper to hold up better than regular copy paper. But if you were like, all you have is regular copy paper, that's all you need is regular copy paper with any of these products. It's formulated to work regular copy paper, and formulated to work only to like put on paper and then transfer to a sublimation surface. So you do still need a sublimation blank, does still need to have a sublimation coating, and you can't just paint directly on something. You do need to transfer it with heat. I have like a little heat press here. You do need to transfer it with heat. So that's all that sublimation process still needs to happen. It's just in a like fun and crafty way. All right, so couple people I'm seeing paint. So let's try paint first. And I have, I mean, like I said, they have like several blanks, but their shirts are my favorite. This is a onesie, variety of sizes. The shirts are polyester, 100% polyester, but they feel like cotton. So they are my absolute favorite for using, regardless if I'm using this or not. I use the Artesprix shirts. All right, so let's just say I'm gonna make a summer onesie. This is their like little summer and travel coloring book. And it's printed with sublimation ink. And let's see, this one is the medium one. I don't even know if I pulled them all out. Let's see. I think I did. So they have like a wide variety of different ones. So I'm going to use the large so that it has large designs in it. And we'll just like pick one. Like that would look good on the onesie. Okay, so I'm thinking like the flamingo, right? Because what? So the number one thing with these coloring books is you don't have to use like the whole sheet. I just cut away like what I want to use. And there's 2 sheets of every design. So like there's the one I'm cutting out. So I cut that one away. And then the next sheet is the same design. So I like have 2 sheets of each. So there is little flamingo. He'll look cute on the onesie, right? All right, so I am going to swap camera angles here. Hopefully you can see my guy there. Okay, so for the paint and the coloring book, I like a really light coat of the paint. And you don't have to worry about like going over the black at all, which is nice. So for this paint, I'm going to use, it has to be a pink flamingo, right? I'm right? So I'm going to use like, and this paint goes so far. So I'm going to do literally one little drop of paint. And I'm thinking like, that pink is going to look good on this flamingo, right? Do we want it any lighter? Maybe a little bit lighter. So the paper the coloring books are printed on is literally just regular copy paper. It is nothing special. But the ink it's printed with is Sublimation ink. So I'm going to get it a little bit lighter and then just like literally little like regular paintbrush, and I just mix it up. And I'm just going to sort of go in and paint around this. And then I have, this is some water in case we needed some for some things. And you can absolutely water this paint down. So you can get like a watercolor effect with the paint. You can go more traditional and, use it out of the bottle as a paint. And I'm going to attempt to stay in the lines and attempt to make sure y'all are not asking any questions. If it's not in the lines, that part is not the paint's fault at all. It might be my fault. So I'm just going to kind of go around this little flamingo. And then, so there's a wide variety of colors. Let's see, maybe like an orange for that beak portion. Or what we could do, we can mix this up. So some people were asking about the markers. I can mix this up a little bit. So I'm going to use the paint for the pink. And then we're going to color with the markers for like the small details. That way we'll mix it up a little bit. We'll use both in one project. So you can also mix and match here. And I am going to turn on my heat press really quick, guys. And I'm going to do 385 for 60. I think that'll be good. Yes, so someone just said, can you use the markers on the coloring book image? Yes. So you can literally, on the coloring book images, I have used literally all the products I showed. I can show you some examples of some projects. And I do have a full YouTube video on the coloring book. So I have used every single one of their products on the, and I'm going to go over the black here like really good so we can see like how much does it come through, right? So it should leave that black outline no matter if I go over it or not. And I have used every single product on a coloring book page. I've used it not on a coloring book page, just painted paper. I've used I use these products with my Cricut machine a lot. So I'll paint a page. And I have an example over here. I paint like a whole page and then I cut it with my Cricut machine. Like this is hexagons with their paint painted on it. And then I can use those hexagons and tape them down to like a large project and do it that way. I recently made like a lemon pillow cover where I painted a sheet yellow and then use the Cricut machine to cut like a lemon shape. All right, so I feel like that's pretty good, right? For talking and so this paint is going to dry so fast. So first of all, I did a very light coat. Depends on how much of the paint that you use. But you do want it to dry before you actually sublimate it. But we are going to use a little hack here in just a second. I am going to color his eye blue. So this is just the markers. And my favorite is the chisel tip. It's going to be like hard to see. But it has a point and then a flat. And that way I can use the point to do the fine details, and I could use the flat if I had any large details. All right. You can sublimate right away, or you can leave it sit. So this is an example. I'm going to like dry this and we're going to sublimate it right away. And I'm just going to kind of fan it a little bit here. But also I have a wide variety of sheets over here to the side that I have painted or used or just played around with. And I can use these at any time. And I've used these months and months later. So literally months later, I have used some of the sheets that I have colored or used the stamping on or whatever. So I've literally used those like months later. All right, so what I'm going to do is going to be, might be loud for just a second. Hopefully Restream does the work for us. But what I do in order to make this a quick project, because let's face it, like sometimes I'm just not a patient person. I'm going to like smooth this out a little bit. I feel like that looks not good right there. Okay. So what I'm going to do, like this is just like like a little heat gun you'd use for embossing. And I am just going to go over this really quickly and dry this paint. And someone did say in the comments that they printed out a coloring page from a regular inkjet printer. Absolutely. You would just need to draw over the lines in that case with black. So you would draw over those lines because a regular inkjet printer, of course, wouldn't have sublimation ink in it. These coloring pages are printed with sublimation ink. And if you have a sublimation printer, but just want to like have fun with these products, like with the kids, you want them to be able to paint or color on something with markers and then transfer it to a shirt they can wear, then you could print at home using a sublimation printer, like any image at all, black and white, and let them paint or color it in as well. What happens if you layer the paints? Let's do that really quickly then. You can absolutely layer the paints. What would go with our pink flamingo, y'all? Let's see. We could shade a little bit, maybe. Okay, so let's do this. All right, this is the red. And you can see like I still have pink left, even though I did one drop. I always have paint left. That's why, so when I have paint left, like on the palette like this, I'll just randomly paint it all over pieces of paper, and I'll use those pieces of paper for projects later. So let's layer the paint really quickly before I dry this. So you can absolutely layer the paint. I'm going to do like a bigger dollop of the lightning medium here. And I'm like looking for a paintbrush that I like. Let's try this guy. All right, so we're just gonna mix this up, and I'm trying for a darker pink. And then I'm gonna maybe shade the tail. That's good. Okay, let's try that. Let's do some lines, maybe on the tail. And a little bit of water. So went right over that. Get this all the way wet. All right, so now I have some kind of shading on the tail. with a darker pink. So we kind of layered the paint. So now we're trying the paint just by itself, markers, and a little layered paint. So now I'm going to dry this with just this heat gun really quickly. Hopefully it's not too loud. If it is, turn your volume down on YouTube. Sorry about that. All right, let's just go through here and see. Pretty dry. Okay. All right, now I have my onesie. Okay. I'm going to preheat this onesie a little bit. And what I'm going to talk about is, this is sublimation ink. However, depending on like the method you use with these products, I feel like you get like a lot of ink on the paper, right? So there might be some like just a lot of ink. I feel like if I do like the dip technique, especially if I dip the paper, I get a lot of ink on the page. So I'm saying this because I'm going to really use, you're going to be like, well, why is she using all this protective paper? Because this ink, if it's a lot of ink on the paper, it could really like run all over the place. Now, this protective paper, I could reuse it if this doesn't happen, but I don't want to ruin my onesie. So I'm going to put protective paper between these layers, first of all. And then I'm going to have a piece of protective paper to go over the top of this. And then for a little flamingo, let's see. I just feel like maybe some of these, I think it's going to be okay. We might dry it just a little bit more. I'm trying to like not mess this up. All right. So now I'm going to take this, and it's the same as sublimation. So this is the ink side, or the side we painted on. And I'm just going to flip that over and locate it on the onesie. And then a couple pieces of heat resistant tape here. And a piece of protective paper over the top, wherever I put it. The protective paper, I can link to it, Ava. I do have a like full video about storing protective paper. So this holder, it's called it's from Chic Wrap, and it's for parchment paper. But it works amazing for rolls of protective paper. This is like my favorite find, and it has little to do with sublimation. It's for the kitchen. But you just drop the roll of protective paper in there, close this, and then you just have a little cutter that runs across there. Yeah, like one of my favorite things ever. All right, I'm going to now press this. 385, 60 seconds. That was what I'm doing. I feel like that's going to be okay. So you would use the same time and temperature that you would use for any sublimation that you're doing. So whatever your sublimation blank calls for. So in this case, whatever the onesie called for is what I needed to do. Really don't need to change that up much. I feel like everything I have done with our products has stayed pretty true to the time and temperature for that sublimation blank. So haven't had a whole lot of issues with time and temperature with them. All right. So we got about 20 more seconds, and then we get to see our little onesie here. Anything else you all would like to see? We can like run through some projects I've made with it and give you some ideas of like different ways that you can use this. And maybe it'll like spark some creativity. All right, so that's it. All right, and I'm going to peek at this. And it looks so good. Okay. Yay. So look at him. So cute. It might be a little faded at the top. See, I was worried about it being wet right there, and see how I think the moisture blew out. But that's okay. It's all right. Looks super cute. Let me pull out this. And a super cute little onesie. Probably should have dried it some more with the heat gun, but overall super cute. And let's see, can I get the shading on the tail? So you can see that shading on the tail, how we went over the top. All right, other ways you use the ink without the stamp pad. I'm going to do one of those then because someone asked. All right, so let me do one of those, and let's maybe not use the coloring book this time, just to vary it up a little bit. I'm going to, hold on. We need this water for this, and it's fine that I've used this water for my paintbrushes. It's going to be fine. All right, so I have pink. There's Sublimation ink, and this is one way to use it, and probably my favorite way. So I'm going to, let's get, all right, so maybe like this little keychain. Oh, I know what we can do. Let's do one of these stars. And like, so they also do, Artesprix does a like blank of the month is what they call it. So it's like a special blank. And you can use these products with the mug press. I have some mugs to show you here in a second, Amy. Okay. And yes, you can use the inks like alcohol inks, kind of in a way. And I'm going to like water dip here. So let's say that, let's see. We're going to use the star red, blue. Whoop, blue. Okay. All right. So let's put the pink up. I have red and blue. Now, there might still be some pink in here because I was using my paintbrushes in there. So if some pink gets on our final thing, we're just going to be like, that's okay. So I don't have to get up and get more water. All right. So we just need like a little piece of, when I'm doing this water dip, I like a thicker paper. So I'm going to do like a mixed media or watercolor paper. I've used cardstock with this, just something a little thicker. If you use copy paper with this technique I'm about to show you, it just, it's too wet. Like it just really, and I'm hoping that I've opened these. I have not. I'm going to use the smaller bottles, I think. So if you use regular copy paper, it's just sort of like the copy paper itself just crinkles too much, and I just can't. And we might have to, we'll see if I can get this dry enough to press it. This is going to be very wet. All right, so Sublimation ink, and I'm going to just, this is blue, and I'm just going to, I hope this one is open. I don't use blue very often, and it's not. I'm going to have to open some of these, y'all. Let's see, red. It's not open either. Maybe it is. Oh, it's open. Okay. So I'm just going to kind of drip the ink in. And you can see how some of it sort of floats on the surface, right? Let's see if I can get some of this. Oh, the blue was open. I just wasn't squeezing enough. I'm just going to do the blue the same way. And then I'm going to use just like popsicle stick. You can kind of swirl it. So you don't have to do this step. I could just dip in now, but I'm just going to kind of swirl a little bit. And I'm going to decide, like, you're just being creative here. Do I want more red? Maybe. And kind of let it swirl around. And you can get several dips out of one thing here. Each one will be different. All right, so I'm going to say that's good. I like it. And then I'm just going to take my paper and dip it and pull it out. And how cool is that? So I'm going to kind of try to get some of the excess water off here so that we can attempt to dry this one. All right, so you see that ink on there? And this is like similar to like when you print with sublimation, how the ink, it gets brighter after you press it. So you're going to get a similar result with these. So I'm always like, is that enough? Should I dip again? And I always just go with that's enough because it's going to look cool, y'all. So I'm going to set that to the side. Let's see. And I'm trying to scroll through some questions just in case I missed any. I don't think I'm gonna like switch back to me here. I don't think that it matters what weight the copy paper is for like most of the projects, right? So if you are doing just a paint project or whatever, it's not going to matter. The only thing is if you're doing something that you're gonna use a lot of water, like I just did, that's when I go with a mixed media or something. And this is all sublimation paint and ink. So I use the paint on the flamingo, markers on the flamingo, and then these are bottles of sublimation ink. And it does come in a couple of different sizes. So I just used the small bottles because I had not opened my large ones. My fault. I didn't even know I was going to be using red and blue. And then once we've done this, someone said it's a baby onesie washable. Yes. So once I've done this, this has been sublimated onto the surface. So this is not going anywhere. It is permanent, just like any sublimation project. And like this is for the life of this shirt. As long as we put it on 100% polyester, sublimation still needs that chemical reaction. All right, so I'm gonna let this dry just a little bit over here. And I'm going to show you kind of some of the projects I've done in the past. I do have full videos on a lot of these, shorter videos on some of them, but still like some good ideas for you, I think. So with the coloring book with this, I believe on this one, I just took like a little like blender brush type of situation. And I just rub it on this stamping pad and just rubbed it over some of those coloring book pages. And I kind of blended a couple of different colors together for this one. And then for this one, I did that dip technique that I just did with the red and blue. And I did like a pink and purple situation with this version. This was a coloring page and I used the paint on it for like a luggage tag. And then some people asked about layering the paint. This is something I did at Christmas. And I just painted like a Christmas tree. And then I added all of the little ornaments with dots over the top of it. Again, once you layer the paint. So sublimation ink is translucent always. So those colors will show through. So you can kind of layer the paints that way. And that whatever the bolder color will show through. And then someone asked about on mugs. Absolutely. So this is a version with a coloring page. And I did this one with markers, I believe. And just sort of colored those markers in. So you can use it on all types of sublimation blanks, as long as the blanks are for sublimation. And then I kind of mentioned a little bit about using it in conjunction with a Cricut machine. And here's one example of that. It's a little like Easter sign. And I just painted 3 different sheets of paper with the paints and then cut out the bunny shapes on my Cricut machine and applied to this. It's like an MDF type of sign. So let's see how dry this is. I'm going to dry this a little bit and we're just going to go for it and try to press it because I mean, we're live. We might as well just do it. And while I'm doing this, if you have any more questions or you're like, I want to see something specific, feel free to drop down the live chat and ask about that. And I'm happy to make another project after the star. The projects are so quick. All right, is copy paper and laser paper the same? What I do is like the copy paper that I bought at Sam's, like it's bulk copy paper. That's what I keep for my projects. And I just flip that packaging over to the back. And if it says okay to use on a laser printer, then that is laser copy paper. So all that is doing is referring to like it can handle the heat. So that's the copy paper that I use around my home in my printers to like make copies of things. So that's what I use for any Artesprix projects, is that copy paper. So I have never had an issue with that copy paper working for these projects. The only thing I would think with the copy paper, laser paper controversy here would be is if you use just a copy paper that was not okay for a laser printers, maybe it would burn more when you went to press it. It's just like it can handle the high heat or the high temperatures. All right, so I am going to maybe try to use my phone to look up the time, and maybe it's on these. No, okay. I don't want to guess and mess up these ornaments. So I'm going to look for the time and temperature and heat this heat press up. And then the blender brushes clean up from the ink. They do make, I generally do, honestly, I do like a cheap brush. And the other thing you can do is basically like have one per color. So like a pink brush or whatever. I just recently, like I bought all new ones. But you could do like a pink brush, whatever, and then only use like, maybe this brush is for my green ink and it's green or something. And then only use it for the green ink. And I think that would work. So I guess I don't try to like get them clean, if that makes sense. So I just keep using them for the same color. What I will do is like at the end of the project, just like the paint or whatever. So I just take a spare sheet and I really rub the brush on it and get as much of the excess ink out of the brush as I can. And again, I can use those pages for, I've used them years later for projects later. All right, so it says 400 degrees. So we're gonna have to let it heat up just a little bit for 75 seconds. And that way we are doing the right time and temperature. The onesie was 100% polyester, so it's from Artesprix. It's 100% polyester. Their shirts and stuff literally feel like cotton, but they are 100% polyester. So with sublimation for fabric, I would probably wouldn't go lower than like a 75% polyester, really. I think you can go down to like 65%. All right, so we are heated up. I'm going to go ahead and clean this just in case. And all right, so I'm gonna, now with this technique, of course, like the ink, you don't know where it's gonna end up. So I just kind of like locate it, like trying to get my favorite parts of the swirl on the part where it's actually gonna sublimate. All right. The coloring books are from Artesprix. You can get them at artesprix.com. And I'll try to go back. I don't know if I did link to their website in the description below this video. I'll try to go back and make sure that I did link to their website just so you can find it easier. All right, so no ink got on this from the last time, so I'm going to use, I'll like switch here. So I put the star on our paper, secured it with heat-resistant tape. I'm going to do protective paper, top and bottom. And I'm probably going to do the heat-resistant gloves because this is metal, guys. And one of my biggest fears is burning myself alive. So we're going to do this. And I'm going to press. All right. So I guess last project, I'll show you a few more I've done with the same technique. Here, this is a really good example. So that is pink and purple. And you can see that one, how cool that looks. So pink and purple done kind of in the same way with marbling on water. Oh, I did, but my link isn't working. I am sorry, Corey. I will look at that. My fault. It's like so many links, and I do remember making a list of links, so I must have got one of them wrong or copy and pasted wrong. It's okay. I will fix that in a few seconds. So if you are looking and the link doesn't work, it's just on the Artesprix website, artesprix.com, and then you can, I think it's under Sublimation supplies and the coloring books, or what I usually do is like go to the search at the top and just type coloring or coloring book or something like that, and then all of them come up. All right, so we have about 4 seconds left. All right, let's see. I'm going to peek under here. Okay, looks good. All right, so I'm going to remove this. And there's that. I'm going to switch back. I feel like this is a better angle here. So you can see the swirl, and it's hot. You can see how the ink like swirls around. And like I said, you can just play with it and add more or less ink, you know, more red, less blue, whatever you want to do. And every time you dip the paper, literally, it will come out different. The dip technique is one of my favorite techniques with their products, and it is with the bottles of Sublimation ink is what I use for that technique. And absolutely, this is recorded, so you can always watch this back later. And if you have any questions, even if I'm not live, you can drop those in the comment section. I do have full videos on like every single one of their products. So if you're like, I really want to learn more about the paint you didn't cover enough, there's a full video on that, and you can definitely head there and like see that. You know what? I might have a discount code. Let me think. Like, do I have a discount code? Let's look. Cricut. Let's try. Let me see. I feel like maybe I do have a discount code that I've forgotten about, y'all. Use code CCC10. Try that for 10% off. And I'm going to type that in the comment section. Good on you for asking, because I forgot I have a coupon code. Try that coupon code for 10% off. And yes, okay, so the Cricut infusible ink markers are, of course, Sublimation ink. So you can use those with those coloring books. So if you're like, I already have markers, I don't need new markers, that's fine. You can order the Artesprix coloring books and use your Cricut markers to color the pages in, or let the kids color the pages in, or whatever, and make some cute sublimation projects with the coloring books with the markers you already have. So if you already have infusible ink markers, I feel like infusible ink has several different varieties and types. Any of those will work with like the coloring books in the same way. All right. So, any last minute questions about all things Artesprix products? Let me know in the live chat. Otherwise, I hope you all enjoyed this. Um, Artistry for me is like a fun way to do sublimation. And I use it a lot for just like I want to get creative or crafting with kids is another great example. Crafting in a group. So if you want to get your entire, group of people together and all sublimate like the same blank, but it's kind of boring if you just print out a sublimation print, right? And like everyone applies the same sublimation print to their shirt or their this a star ornament or whatever you're making. It's kind of boring. But with these products, everyone can kind of customize their own before you press, sit, chat, craft, talk. So you can have like a sublimation craft night as well. So I always think that is fun as well with these products, is just like the crafting aspect added to sublimation. All right. So thank you all so much for joining me, for those that join me live. And again, if I'm not live, feel free to ask any questions that you have in the comment section below. And remember, you do not have to have a printer to do sublimation. Give some of these products a try. I really think you're going to like them. I know I do. And it's just fun to get creative sometimes with some of these products and not just print something and press. So thank you all for joining me. And I will see you next